What happens when two prominent figures in Christian media and ministry collide over differences in theology, ethics, and accountability? The controversy between investigative journalist Julie Ross and Daystar Television Network's co-founder Joni Lamb is a story that has gripped the faith community. It has sparked debates about transparency, leadership, and the role of media in holding Christian leaders accountable. This is not merely a clash of two women with opposing viewpoints, but an exploration of the challenges faced by Christian ministries under public scrutiny, the weight of personal convictions, and the expectations of their followers. As we delve into this controversy, prepare for a thought-provoking journey through the complexities of faith, ethics, and the power dynamics at play in modern Christian media. Julie Ross, the investigative journalist who exposed Daystar's allegations. Julie Ross has gained recognition as a courageous and relentless investigative journalist, particularly known for her work exposing corruption and misconduct within Christian ministries. Her platform, The Ross Report, has become a critical resource for exposing ethical lapses, financial mismanagement, and abuse of authority among high-profile figures in the evangelical community. Ross's dedication to unearthing the truth has earned her both praise and criticism, as her investigations have often taken aim at ministries that portray themselves as paragons of moral integrity. Ross's journalistic approach is guided by a strong sense of duty and faith. She views her work not just as a professional pursuit, but as a spiritual calling. She believes that exposing corruption within Christian organizations is an essential part of preserving the integrity of the church. Over the years, her investigations have raised significant questions about the ethical practices of some of the largest evangelical ministries in the United States. While some hail her as a hero for holding powerful figures accountable, others accuse her of creating unnecessary division and tarnishing the reputations of influential Christian leaders without sufficient evidence. One of Ross's most notable investigations centered around the Daystar Television Network, one of the largest Christian broadcasting platforms in the world. The network, co-founded by Joni Lamb and her late husband, Marcus Lamb, has long been celebrated for its global outreach and its commitment to spreading Christian messages. However, Ross's exposé revealed troubling allegations about the financial practices, ethical stewardship, and leadership style of Daystar, particularly under Joni Lamb's direction. Joni Lamb, the ministry pioneer behind Daystar Television Network. Joni Lamb is an iconic figure in Christian broadcasting. Together with Marcus Lamb, she co-founded Daystar Television Network in 1993, and under their leadership, it became one of the most influential Christian networks worldwide. Daystar broadcasts 24/7 and reaches millions of viewers globally with faith-based content, inspirational messages, and humanitarian efforts. Joni Lamb is not just a media pioneer, but also a philanthropist, using Daystar's platform to promote disaster relief, spiritual counseling, and global mission initiatives. Throughout her career, Lamb has been lauded for her commitment to spreading the gospel and providing support to underserved communities. She has become a well-respected leader in the Christian media landscape, known for her devotion to both the ministry and its global outreach initiatives. However, in recent years, Lamb has faced mounting criticism. Accusations about the network's financial practices, particularly its use of donor funds, have put her leadership under scrutiny. Critics argue that Daystar's leadership has placed a higher priority on maintaining a lavish image than on upholding the financial transparency expected of nonprofit organizations. As a public figure, Lamb has had to navigate intense public scrutiny. Her critics question whether Daystar's success has been built on principles of accountability and ethical stewardship, or whether it has been fueled by questionable financial practices. These concerns came to a head when investigative journalist Julie Ross began scrutinizing the network's finances and its leadership's spending habits. Use of donations, a question of ethical stewardship. One of the most critical issues raised by Ross's investigation was the misuse of donations. Like many religious organizations, Daystar relies on donations from its viewers to fund its operations and outreach initiatives. These donations are intended to support the network's mission of spreading the gospel and helping those in need. However, Ross's investigation uncovered disturbing evidence suggesting that some of Daystar's spending was inconsistent with its religious mission. In particular, Ross reported that certain funds donated by Daystar's viewers appeared to have been diverted toward personal or extravagant expenditures that had little to do with ministry work. Such revelations created an outcry among donors who felt betrayed by the misuse of their hard-earned money. These donors believed they were contributing to a ministry with high moral values, only to find that their funds may have been spent on luxury items or personal benefits for Daystar's leadership. The controversy surrounding Daystar's financial practices raises significant ethical questions. Ministries that rely on donations for their operations are expected to be transparent in how those funds are used. When donors contribute to a ministry, they trust that their money will be used for the stated mission of the organization, not for lavish lifestyles or personal indulgence. Financial stewardship is crucial for maintaining the integrity of any religious organization, and when these expectations are not met, it can result in a loss of public trust and reputational damage. The private jet controversy: a symbol of excess or a necessary tool? One of the most polarizing aspects of the allegations against Daystar was the network's purchase of a private jet. Critics argued that this lavish expenditure was a blatant contradiction to the Christian values of humility and sacrifice. For many, the idea of a religious organization, funded by donations, spending millions of dollars on a luxury aircraft, seemed at odds with the message of modesty and selflessness that many Christian leaders promote. Joni Lamb defended the purchase, arguing that the jet was a necessary tool for Daystar's international ministry efforts. She claimed that it allowed the network's leadership to travel quickly and efficiently to remote areas where commercial flights were either unavailable or impractical. According to Lamb, the jet was an investment in Daystar's global outreach initiatives, enabling the network to respond more effectively to humanitarian crises and minister to underserved communities. However, critics remained unconvinced. They questioned whether such a costly purchase was truly necessary, especially when commercial air travel could have sufficed at a fraction of the cost. They also pointed out that the network's messaging about sacrifice and servanthood seemed incongruent with the visible luxury of the private jet. The controversy raised broader questions about the ethics of lavish spending in Christian ministries. How much luxury is acceptable for leaders of religious organizations, particularly when those organizations are funded by donations from well-meaning supporters? While some defended Daystar's purchase as a strategic decision that would enhance the network's ability to fulfill its mission, others viewed it as a troubling symbol of misplaced priorities. This debate highlighted the tension between the perceived need for luxury in a global ministry and the principles of humility and selflessness that are central to Christian teaching. Tax exemptions: scrutiny of Daystar's financial practices. Another critical element of Ross's investigation focused on Daystar's tax-exempt status. As a nonprofit organization, Daystar is required to operate with strict financial oversight and adhere to regulations that ensure its operations serve the public good. Nonprofits, particularly religious organizations, are granted tax exemptions under the assumption that they are fulfilling a public service, whether through ministry work, humanitarian aid, or other charitable activities. Ross's investigation uncovered evidence suggesting that Daystar may have violated these regulations by using ministry funds for personal benefit, including for luxury items and indulgent spending. These concerns raised serious questions about whether Daystar was operating as a legitimate nonprofit, or whether it was using its tax-exempt status to shield personal financial interests. Any misuse of nonprofit funds could have significant legal and reputational consequences, and the scrutiny of Daystar's financial practices highlighted the broader challenges facing religious organizations in maintaining financial transparency. Political affiliations and theological concerns, blurring the line between ministry and politics. In addition to the financial controversies, Ross's investigation also examined Daystar's political involvement. Over the years, Daystar has hosted programming that supports politically charged figures and movements, leading some to argue that the network is blurring the lines between ministry and political advocacy. Critics contended that Daystar's political programming risked alienating certain segments of its audience, who were more focused on spiritual guidance than political commentary. Joni Lamb defended the network's political engagement, insisting that Daystar's role was not to avoid controversial topics, but to provide a biblical perspective on the issues facing the world today. She argued that the inclusion of political programming was part of the network's broader mission to educate viewers on how to approach societal issues from a Christian viewpoint. Lamb maintained that Daystar's focus remained on spreading the gospel and addressing cultural and political issues in accordance with biblical teachings. However, critics raised concerns that Daystar's political involvement could be detracting from its spiritual mission. They argued that the network's endorsements of divisive political figures and movements were damaging to the unity of the Christian community and risked compromising the network's doctrinal integrity. Some also questioned whether Daystar's programming was becoming more about maintaining political influence than about advancing the gospel. Public reaction and broader implications. The investigation into Daystar television network has sparked an intense debate within the Christian community. For some, Julie Ross's reporting has served as a much-needed wake-up call, underscoring the importance of transparency and accountability in Christian ministries. They argue that ministries must hold themselves to the highest ethical standards, particularly when they rely on the support of their viewers and donors. Others have rallied behind Daystar, defending its leadership and questioning the motives behind Ross's investigation. For them, Daystar represents a beloved institution that has positively impacted millions of lives, and they view the allegations as an unfair attempt to discredit its work. This controversy highlights the broader challenges facing Christian ministries, particularly those with significant financial resources and public visibility. While accountability is essential for maintaining trust and integrity, it can also create division within the church. As the situation with Daystar continues to unfold, it will likely serve as a powerful reminder of the importance of ethical leadership and transparency in ministries around the world. Joni Lamb's response. Defending Daystar's integrity. In response to the growing criticisms and accusations, Joni Lamb has issued a series of public statements defending the actions of Daystar television network. Lamb has consistently emphasized that the network's focus remains on fulfilling its mission to spread the gospel and serve the global Christian community. She has framed the private jet purchase and other controversial decisions as necessary investments to further Daystar's international outreach and humanitarian work. For Lamb and her supporters, the criticisms leveled against Daystar are seen as part of a broader spiritual battle, one that involves defending the network's integrity and commitment to its mission. While the controversy continues to swirl, Joni Lamb remains steadfast in her defense of the network and its leadership, believing that the work they are doing is vital to the advancement of the gospel. The Daystar controversy, an in-depth examination of faith, leadership, and accountability. The Daystar television network has long stood as one of the most prominent and influential Christian media organizations in the world. Founded by Marcus and Joni Lamb, Daystar is a household name in Christian broadcasting, known for its far-reaching programming and mission to spread the gospel across the globe. With its widespread audience and significant financial resources, Daystar has played a pivotal role in shaping modern Christian media. However, the network recently found itself at the center of a controversy that raised critical questions about leadership, transparency, and accountability within Christian ministries. The role of investigative journalism, unveiling financial practices. At the heart of the controversy was the investigative work of Julie Ross, an award-winning journalist renowned for her dedication to uncovering ethical issues within the evangelical community. Ross, who has built a reputation as a tireless advocate for transparency, took on the task of exposing alleged financial improprieties at Daystar. Her investigation focused particularly on the network's expenditures, including the purchase of a multi-million-dollar private jet. This revelation sent shockwaves through the Christian community, prompting a wave of debate over the ethical stewardship of donor funds. Ross's investigation uncovered several expenditures that appeared to be in stark contrast to the humble image that Daystar had cultivated over the years. While Daystar presented itself as a ministry dedicated to spreading the gospel and serving others, Ross's reporting suggested that some of the funds donated by supporters were being spent on lavish and extravagant items. This raised serious questions about the network's priorities, particularly in light of its reliance on donations from well-meaning Christians who believed their contributions were being used for ministry-related activities. The private jet controversy, the symbol of excess? Among the most controversial aspects of Ross's investigation was the purchase of a private jet by Daystar television network. For many donors, the idea of a Christian ministry investing in such a high-cost luxury item seemed at odds with the values of humility and simplicity that are often associated with the faith. The jet, which was reportedly purchased for the purpose of facilitating Daystar's international outreach, was viewed by critics as a symbol of excess. To many, it appeared to be an indulgence that contradicted the principles of sacrificial giving that are often preached in evangelical circles. Joni Lamb, who co-founded Daystar with her late husband Marcus, defended the purchase of the jet, arguing that it was a necessary investment for the network's global ministry operations. She explained that the jet would allow Daystar to respond more quickly to humanitarian crises and outreach efforts, particularly in remote regions where access to commercial flights was limited. Lamb framed the purchase as a strategic decision that would ultimately enhance Daystar's ability to spread the gospel to a broader audience. While Lamb's explanation resonated with some supporters, it did little to quell the growing concerns among critics. Many questioned whether the purchase of such a lavish item was truly necessary for the network's mission, or whether it was simply an example of extravagant spending that could have been better spent on mission trips or disaster relief. The jet controversy became emblematic of a larger debate over the ethical responsibilities of ministries in managing donor funds, and whether such purchases were consistent with their stated mission. The ethics of financial stewardship, donor expectations versus ministry operations. The Daystar controversy raised important questions about the ethical stewardship of resources within Christian ministries. Ministries like Daystar rely heavily on donations from believers who trust that their contributions will be used for the furtherance of the gospel. For many, the idea that their financial gifts could be used for extravagant purchases like a private jet felt like a betrayal of that trust. Donors expect ministries to operate with transparency and accountability, ensuring that their funds are being spent on the stated goals of the ministry, whether that involves funding mission trips, providing disaster relief, or broadcasting the gospel. As Daystar grew in prominence, so too did the financial demands placed on the ministry. Running a global media network requires significant resources, and leadership must make tough decisions about how to allocate those funds. However, the controversy highlighted the delicate balance that Christian leaders must strike between operational needs and the ethical expectations of their followers. While a private jet may have been seen as an operational necessity for Daystar's international outreach, its purchase raised larger questions about what was considered acceptable spending for a ministry that depended on the financial support of believers. For ministries like Daystar, the challenge lies in ensuring that expenditures align with the values and principles that underpin the faith. Leadership must be constantly mindful of how their actions are perceived by the public, particularly when they are entrusted with the financial support of those who believe in the ministry's mission. If ministries are to maintain the trust and confidence of their supporters, they must demonstrate a commitment to ethical stewardship, ensuring that their financial practices are transparent, accountable, and aligned with the principles of faith. Joni Lamb's defense, a ministry under siege. In the wake of the allegations, Joni Lamb became a vocal defender of Daystar's practices. She framed the criticisms of the network as part of a larger spiritual battle, one that sought to undermine the mission of the ministry and distract believers from the work of spreading the gospel. Lamb viewed the growing media attention as an attack on Daystar's integrity and the work of Christian ministry in general. She argued that the focus on Daystar's finances, particularly the private jet, was a diversion from the real work of the church, serving people and sharing the message of salvation. Lamb's response was one of steadfast defense, as she positioned herself as a guardian of the ministry's mission. She emphasized that Daystar was committed to its vision of global outreach, and that the jet was a necessary tool to carry out this work effectively. For Lamb and many of Daystar's supporters, the network's primary mission was to share the gospel with as many people as possible, and the private jet was viewed as a means to fulfill that mission. They believed that the jet's purchase was a practical decision that would enable Daystar to reach more people and minister more effectively in areas that were otherwise inaccessible. The divide within the Christian community. Supporters versus critics. The controversy over Daystar's finances sparked a significant divide within the Christian community. On one side, critics of Daystar, led by investigative journalists like Julie Ross, argued that Christian ministries should be held to the highest standards of transparency and accountability. They maintained that no organization, regardless of its religious affiliation, should be exempt from scrutiny, especially when it comes to financial practices. For these critics, the focus was not on the ministry's work, but on how the resources were being managed. They believed that ministries like Daystar had a responsibility to demonstrate ethical stewardship, and that failure to do so could erode public trust in the entire faith-based sector. On the other side, Daystar's supporters defended the network and its leadership, viewing the controversy as an unjust attack on a beloved ministry. They argued that Daystar had done much good in the world, reaching millions of people with messages of hope and salvation. For them, the ministry's work far outweighed the concerns over its financial practices. They believed that the media attention and public scrutiny were part of a larger spiritual battle, one that sought to discredit Daystar's mission and undermine its influence in the world. This divide raised important questions about the role of accountability within the church and the impact that public controversies can have on the broader Christian community. While some felt that transparency and oversight were essential to maintaining the integrity of Christian ministries, others worried that too much scrutiny could cause division and harm the unity of the faith. For many, the controversy was not just about Daystar's finances, but about the broader implications for how the church handles issues of leadership, accountability, and transparency. Reconciliation and moving forward. A path to unity. Despite the polarizing nature of the controversy, it also presented an opportunity for reflection and growth within the Christian community. Both Julie Ross and Joni Lamb share a deep commitment to their faith and a desire to see the gospel flourish. Moving forward, there is potential for reconciliation and healing if both sides are willing to engage in honest dialogue and listen to each other's concerns with humility. For the church, the controversy serves as a reminder of the importance of transparency, ethical leadership, and the need to protect the unity of the faith community. By addressing the underlying issues with a willingness to learn from one another, the church can emerge from this conflict stronger and more united in its mission. Whether through improved financial practices, more responsible stewardship of resources, or a deeper commitment to fostering unity, there is an opportunity for growth and renewal in the midst of this controversy. Conclusion: a call for greater accountability. The Daystar controversy highlights critical issues facing Christian ministries today, particularly those with significant financial resources and a global audience. It underscores the need for transparency, accountability, and ethical leadership in maintaining the trust of supporters and advancing the gospel. As Christian ministries continue to grow and expand, they must be vigilant in managing their resources with integrity and humility, ensuring that their financial practices align with the values of the faith they represent. The controversy also serves as a reminder of the power of investigative journalism in holding organizations accountable, and the importance of transparency in all sectors, including religious ones. Ultimately, the goal should be to honor God and build a church that stands as a beacon of hope and integrity in an increasingly skeptical world. Through humility, accountability, and a commitment to truth, Christian ministries can continue to thrive and fulfill their mission of spreading the gospel to the ends of the earth.